If you're a doubles player looking to take your game to the next level, then you've clicked on exactly the right video. You're about to learn 3 advanced tactics that will pressure your opponents and win you free points.
That was sneaky.
Hey, my name is Ian, and since 2009, I've uploaded over 2,000 free tennis videos that have helped more than 1 million tennis players improve. Let's dive right in. Tactic number 1 is called the squeeze. I want you to keep an eye on this player, Andy, right here at the net. His partner is about to return serve. I'm going to go ahead and play this point through first. I want you to watch what he does. Now, on surface, it doesn't seem like he's really involved at all, but he actually very much is getting involved. As his opponent comes forwards to serve and volley, and his partner hits a great return down the middle and down low to the feet of Matt, who's coming in. Look at how Andy is sliding over. What he's doing here is he's getting in the vision of the serving player as they come forwards, and that adds pressure and it adds difficulty to an already difficult shot. Matt is having to hit a half volley from just a little bit behind the service line, and he's timing his movement with right as the ball is landing down at Matt's feet, so that hopefully Matt sees him, tries to hit a lower, tougher shot over the top of the net, and then force a mistake. Just by making this move, you can compress the amount of space that your opponent has to hit and work with, and that alone is going to cause a lot of mistakes. A critical thing to keep in mind is Andy cannot be here, squeezing the middle, and here, covering his alley at the same time. And on the surface, I know that's an obvious statement to make, but so many doubles players are so concerned with a shot down the line, and they know that most shots travel through the middle, and they know that they should get involved and help their partner out, but they just don't because they're so concerned about getting embarrassed by that shot that goes on their side of the court. Andy here, very successful 4-5 player, knows that the statistics are in his favor. By squeezing towards the middle and pressuring Matt, he's going to win a lot of free points by just forcing a mistake. Let's turn the tables. Now here's an example of Matt doing that same thing to Andy. I'm going to go ahead and play through this point, and keep your eyes on Matt as Andy comes forwards to pressure the returner and serves and volleys. This time, it's Matt who makes the aggressive move across the center. And this is really critical, everybody. These players are doing this selectively, meaning Matt is not always going to just run across. In fact, if you want to watch the full match, it's on the Real Tennis channel. You can watch every single point. They're waiting to see signs and signals that the server on the way in is going to have a difficult shot, which this is. It's a lower half volley from behind the service line, and so Matt is waiting to see the posture, see the bend, see the height of Andy, watch his racket. Is it going up for a higher volley? Is it coming down for a low volley or a half volley? And he's using those signs to decide when is a good time to go ahead and add additional pressure by going towards the middle. And you better believe that as he's doing that, watch how Matt is just like physically making himself bigger here at the end, putting his racket out, even though he can already see the ball's going into the net. And this is just the game within the game. These players are trying to show each other, I can cover more space. I can be here and there at the same time. Great doubles players are always trying to add on extra pressure, just like Matt is doing here. Before we get to tactic number 2, I just want to point out real quick that had Andy just decided to hit this down the line, Matt would have lost the point. He would have been caught because he's fully committed. Watch Matt's footwork here, how he's crossing over, and he's timing it perfectly, but he's committing towards the center, and it's just an educated guess. He has no way of knowing for sure the ball is going in a cross-court direction, but over time, you start to see that that's the predominant pattern, so he's making an educated guess. And in just a second, we'll talk about what to do about that when your opponents are doing it to you. If you'd also like to instantly upgrade your singles game, make sure to head over to tennissecret.com, where I'll show you some special positions and patterns that you can use in your very next match to cut your number of errors in half, and also to force a lot more mistakes from your opponents. Super simple stuff, and it's free. Go sign up at tennissecret.com. Tactic number 2, we're going to call the catch. This is what you do when you've got an opponent that's really savvy, really smart, times their moves really well, and just seems to pop up at the right place at the right time. Watch as I play through this point. Matt is going to serve and volley again, and Andy is going to try to intercept, and I want you to watch what happens this time. So Matt changes the direction. He sees Andy squeezing. By the way, notice the score here. We're a couple of games deep in the set, and Andy has really established himself as a really offensive, anticipatory player who's looking to get involved in the point. And so Matt, in a very, very similar situation, has a low, tough shot from a little bit behind the service line. Andy is squeezing towards the middle like we talked about before. His momentum is traveling in that direction. And so Matt, even though he's in a defensive position here and hitting down the line is an offensive shot, they're playing the game within the game. And Matt is seeing this pattern, and so he's choosing to go in a direction that normally he wouldn't go. And this is critical to understand. If Andy was not active and not being proactive around the net, Matt would never make this choice, because if he just hits it cross court to the baseline player who's defensive and comes into the net with Scott up at the net, they have a chokehold on this point. Matt ends up being a net player. His partner Scott is a net player, and if he hits this cross court to the baseline player, he's in a defensive position, and now they're sitting really pretty in the point. So this move from Andy is designed to help out his partner back at the baseline, and now we're 2 layers deep, and Matt is seeing the pattern, and instead of playing the kind of the textbook shot and taking a tough shot cross court, he's going down the line in order to catch Andy in his pattern. Now, if you look at this in slow motion, something I do not recommend is watch Matt's head here as he hits this shot. See how he's turning his head and looking to the left while he hits the ball to the right? The old Kyrgios head fake. I do not recommend copying that part of this tactic, but the pattern itself, once your opponent has established a pattern of movement and squeezing, is really, really smart. Here's another example of a catch. Scott is going to serve and volley. The return is going to go low at his feet. And Eric here is going to be squeezing towards the middle. And watch how Scott handles this really, really nicely. As he comes forwards, gets a tough first volley, and just blocks it down the line. By the way, this is, if you go watch the commentary, you'll see the commentary. I mean, watch the reaction, the response here. This is kind of the equivalent of getting your hand caught in the cookie jar, right? Because Eric, look at Eric, with the thumbs up. This is a tough shot. Eric understands that from this position, Scott's best prospect is to hit this cross court because it's the lowest net, it's the longest court, it's the highest percentage target. And so that's why he's coming forwards towards the middle to pinch, because he wants to intercept that ball going over the middle. Scott knows that Eric knows this, and so again, we're 2 layers deep, and we're going to get 3 layers deep in a second in this doubles inception, and so that's why he makes the decision to go down the line. It's the game within the game. Now, I want to point out that this is a hard shot for Scott. We've all been told a million times, like, don't hit shots from no man's land, right? Well, when you have a relatively fast serve, you can only make it so far in before the return gets back at your feet if you're going to serve and volley, which most high-level doubles players do. And so Scott doesn't have a choice here but to take this right off the bounce, short hop it, and then he still has the precision and the control to put it down the alley and place it right in the center of the alley. You have to train this shot. Good doubles players don't avoid hitting shots from no man's land. They know that they don't want to hit multiple shots from no man's land, but they're not going to avoid coming forwards through this zone up towards the net, because if they do that, they're going to be stuck back at the baseline forever. So training your deep volleys and your half volleys is critical, and in just a minute, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Time for Tactics 3. Watch Andy on this one. He's going to be the person that we're going to be studying. Now we're 3 layers deep in this doubles inception, the game within the game. And I want you to watch as we go in full speed here and see if you can catch what he does. Did you see it? Now all of a sudden he's taking control of the points and he's the one that's in the driver's seat. Watch him again in full speed. Can you catch what he did? This is really, really subtle. I'm going to back up and show you in slow motion. This is so smart. What's happening here is as the serve goes in play and the return starts to go down low to Scott's feet, just like before, watch Andy's feet. Watch what he does with his feet. And by the way, look at where this is in the match. We're into the second set now. So these 4 players have played a bunch of points. They've established patterns. They've established preferences. And movements and where they're covering and where they're not covering. And so now Andy is multiple layers down through that process, and he's showing Scott, watch his feet, how he goes back and forth and back and forth. And so this is like subtle, and he's just doing a little bit of like fast feet in place. And he's just trying to get Scott's attention and let him know, or basically get Scott to ask himself the question, where's he going? Where's he going? Where's he going? And it's putting just enough doubt in the back of Scott's mind about where Andy's going to be that Scott just hits a tough volley right to him. And so this was Andy's plan all along, was to get in the back of Scott's mind. He's been setting this up for the last hour, the whole first set. He's been squeezing, taking away balls from the middle, and now that he's established that he's making some moves and he's been caught once or twice down the line, now he has the option of showing one direction, going back and covering where he's supposed to be covering, and Scott just serves up like the easiest volley ever, like shoulder height. That's exactly what Andy wants. That allows him to take control of the points and be in the driver's seat. So another way of saying that is he's baiting the down the line shot, and this has to be set up by several successful squeezes. A smart player like Scott is not going to just hit you the ball down the line unless you've shown him that there's a good enough reason to try to catch him in the first place. So this is critical to understand. You can't go out there in the first point of a match just like do a bunch of like head fakes and like fast feet back and forth. Like, they're not going to just hit you the ball. You have to show them that you have the commitment and you have the confidence to go across the middle and squeeze in the first place. And then that sets up this play of doing the fake and then going back and covering. Here's another example of layer 3. Watch Andy again. This one's going to be even more explicit and more, I guess, aggressive, I would say. Watch Andy as his serve goes in play. Great return, cross court. And this time Andy moves and pinches all the way across towards the center. So he starts off in kind of a standard position. As the return gets hit, he sets the trap by moving towards the center early. And then right as Scott is getting ready to hit this low, tough shot, look at how Andy catches his weight on his right foot and then pivots and turns and shifts his weight back in the other direction. And that gives him another super easy volley to be able to put away. This is layering these different tactics together in a strategic way and then just playing chess and trying to be one move ahead, one step ahead of your opponents, showing them one thing, taking it away. And this is all happening between the lines in the middle of these points before the ball gets hit. This is really exciting stuff to do and really next level tactics. If you want to learn how to deal with those tough low volleys and half volleys, then click the lesson that's on the screen right now. Some of my favorite drills that will teach you how to be precise and have good hands around the net. Thanks so much for watching today. Good luck with your tennis.